Have you ever heard of somebody who abducts little boys?
Room below's got some horrible smells.
We don't want to go in there. What are you doing?
Complimentary room service. Here is that.
Hello and welcome to another Dollar Store Drive-In. I'm your host, Laura.
I'm Joel.
And we're the Newly Dads.
Yes.
If this is your first time tuning in, thank you for joining us. This is a half-hour chat show where we discuss a movie that we've watched. If this is not your first time tuning in, welcome back. We appreciate you tuning in each week, and we love everybody that supports us. So you're one of those people. Thank you very much. This, like I said, is a half-hour chat show. We also upload it to Spotify. So if you're listening to this as a podcast, you can also find us because this is a visual show. Mr. Newly Dead does a lot of editing. A lot of it is visual. Sometimes you'll see our dogs pop up. He likes to do funny, I don't know, what do you call them? Like, I would say memes, but they're not memes. They're like little cartoony looking things. Sometimes there's like little explosions. It all makes sense when you're watching it. So you can find us at thenewlydeads.com to find out every place that this show airs. There's several different places. So we highly recommend that you check us out and look at it on our, like, come see our faces. We like you. We don't want to just, like, you know, talk to you through your ear holes. We also want to show you through your eye holes.
Yeah.
So this week we did go and watch a movie. It was Dead Ant is what we watched this week. But before we get into that, there are several pieces of criteria that we need to cover to keep the show on a somewhat, I don't know, of a structure, I guess. The structure that we have for this show is that the criteria, I should say, for the show is that it needs to be under $5. It needs to be a horror, thriller, or sci-fi genre movie, and it needs to be a movie that neither of us have ever seen before. Dead Ant, where did you find Dead Ant?
Toad Hall, Books and Records.
Toad Hall. All right.
Records
so
and books.
This was actually found in the wild, is what we like to call it. We used to just get most of our movies through the Dollar Tree. But they stopped really carrying movies. So occasionally we get things sent to us. This week, like he said, he found it at Toad Hall, and it was brand new, wasn't it?
I mean, it wasn't in a wrapper, but
it's pretty dang clean.
All the stuff they get there is always super clean, and they make sure it's nice. It's not just a DVD; it's an
actual Blu-ray. So, Mr. Newly Dead, I know what he's going to do with this. Once we're done with it, if he liked it, he'll probably put it up on the shelf. Right? He's already got plans for it.
Maybe.
Yes. Oh, I should have put my cheaters on. I have my contacts in today and my glasses because I'm getting to a certain age where you need to have bifocals. So fun. I just turned 46. So,
happy birthday.
But yeah, should we read the synopsis? Okay, if I can. When the 80s one-hit wonder glam metal band Sonic Grave embarks on a road trip to Coachella in hopes of a comeback, their, wow, what does that say? Peyote trip? Pit stop? Yeah, that sounds right. Their peyote trip pit stop in Joshua Tree incites a grisly attack, and they rock themselves out of harm's way. Man, that was a rough reading. Sorry about that.
It was a rocky road.
I was like, I think it says peyote. But
it did say peyote, yeah.
You know, it's
Sunshine.
Yellow writing on a black background, and it's real, like, skinny lettering. So when you got old eyeballs like mine, sometimes it's hard to read it if it's, like, weird, you know, font and stuff like that. So, sorry about that.
You made it.
Old eyes.
You made it.
They're watching you. Old eyes. But anyways, you're not here to listen to me sing. There's a lot of famous people in this movie. A lot of cool actors and stuff like that. So
We'll get to that.
We are going to get to that. All right. So should we watch the trailer?
Let's do it.
That way you can understand exactly what we're discussing when we go on and do the second half of the show. All right. I'm going to pause it for just one quick second so that way you can watch the trailer. We'll watch it with you, and then we'll be right back to discuss.
Sure, yeah, whatever. We need to be current. What we need is a hard rockin' hit, man.
Look at all these new bands now. They don't have pyrotechnics. They don't have sparks flying on the stage. It's all tame. We need to go to Coachella and rock.
Yes.
And I agree 100%. By the way, it's called No Cello. No, I couldn't get us into Coachella.
All right, looking killer song. You got it?
I think this is the stuff that inspired Kurt Cobain.
This is the most powerful peyote you and your friend will ever take.
Feeling anything?
I'm good.
We're on a spiritual quest here. We are this close to getting another shot. You gotta focus if it kills you.
There are risks. You as much as hurt one fly will be cursed until the next sundown.
Ouch!
What was that? It was an ant. A giant ant.
I'm in the music industry. That shit happens every day in rock and roll.
We're back. Thank you for sticking with us. Hopefully you liked the trailer. I'm sure he probably didn't mess with it because it's a pretty good campy kind of movie.
We'll see.
There might be a fart at the end. He likes to do that sometimes if he doesn't want to mess with the trailer.
Just so there's at least a little something in there.
Yeah.
So whenever we watch a movie, I will take notes. That way we have a guideline for the show. Mrs. Newlywed will then take them at the end of the year, put them into a flip book on our website that you heard about previously. And you can currently see 2023 and 2024 on the website. This will be 2025's notes.
Yes.
So pay attention once January 1st rolls around to see what all is in here. But Mrs. Newlywed also committed to take notes this entire year. And so far, despite if she falls asleep or not, she
still doing it.
Notes. So
still doing
we're
it.
at 100%.
Going strong.
So far.
Oh, sorry.
So at this point, I will show her what I've got on mine, and she'll describe it to you, and then I'll see what she's got.
Ant or termite. Either way, it's ugly. Sonic grave and a skull. That's a cute skull.
Yeah, I didn't know. I started drawing an ant, and it ended up looking more like a termite to me. Termites don't have.
Termites have wings.
They have like white butts too, but like they're.
Do all termites have wings?
I don't know. I'm not an entomologist. Is that right? Someone who eats Entenmann cakes. Yeah. Entomologist.
Like the coffee cakes.
Yeah. So they've got their own little
My grandma
display
used to
in the aisle.
She'd be like, "I'm gonna get a coffee cake and have some coffee."
I don't like their chocolate donuts. Sorry, Entenmann's.
Yeah.
Good try though. So what do you got?
Well, I drew my little pumpkin guy with the pumpkin,
Which she has converted into a watercolor piece now.
I did. Yeah, it's a pumpkin on top of a pumpkin pie, and it's like I don't know if you can see it.
It's like an evil pumpkin
right
sort of looking guy. He's got big teeth.
Yeah, he's got big tubes.
Big
I
ones.
like drawing things with big teeth.
She does.
I'm going to call him my ghoulish garden.
Yeah, and I like drawing stuff with no jaws, so We make a good pair.
Yeah.
So Dead Ant is from 2017, currently sitting at 4.9 out of 10 on the Internet Movie Database. This was directed and co-written by Ron Carlson, who is known for something called Lifeblood. Probably not what you think. Tom Cool, which might be exactly what you think. And the All-American Christmas Carol, which is a Christmas thing, I guess. But he wrote and directed all of those things. So this was also co-written by Hank Braxton, who did Return of the Ghostbusters, which is not a franchise film. It's a fan film for the Ghostbusters before the first reboot came out, the Afterlife one. Snake Out of Compton, which we need to see at some point.
Yes.
Because it's exactly what it sounds like. And something called Glowsies, which it's a kids zombie movies, but they like glow, like they're radioactive looking kind of.
Glowsies.
But they're called Glowsies. Yeah, it's like a zombie movie for kids, but they glow. This is also co-written by Dan Sinclair, who is known for Chemical Peel, which I have heard of but not seen. Dragon Soldiers, which has come up on a previous episode, I believe. A bunch of shorts and just some other like random TV whatnots. So now to get to this stars that she was talking about, which only included some of them because there was a lot of them in this. We have Tom Arnold, formerly Mr. Roseanne Arnold, Roseanne Barr actually, who was in Ape versus Mecha Ape, which we need to add to the list. I think it's an asylum joint. True Lies, which is what most people who didn't watch TV would know him from. He was in the Trailer Park Boys for a season and was fascinated by Ricky, dressed like him, wanted to sleep with his with Lucy, and was a whole thing. But he was there for a season along with Snoop Dogg and the comedian that's always high all the time, Bill something or Bob something or Tom something. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about?
I think so.
Can't think of his name though. Anyway, I'll put it up here. And he was in Exit Wounds with Steven Seagal and I believe DMX, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah, Tom Arnold was in that. He does action movies occasionally, I guess. This also stars Jake Busey, as in the son of Gary Busey. Brother?
Son. I think it's a son.
Because there's another Busey that's a musician now that's the grandson of Gary Busey that is very popular these days on the internets anyway. Who was in The Frighteners, which is one of my favorite Peter Jackson films with Michael J. Fox. Starship Troopers, which we talk about on the show quite a bit. Identity, which we have talked about on the show before.
Oh, yeah.
And he was in The Predator, which we just talked about on the previous episode. The Shane Black version of the Predator films, which I liked. A lot of people didn't care for.
Yeah.
This also stars in a smaller role, Sydney Sweeney, who is becoming a big thing now. She was in Immaculate. That's what most people kind of know her from these days. She was in Madam Web, the Sony superhero movie that did not do well. Zombies of Mass Destruction, which if you've not seen that before, it's fun. I don't know how else to describe it. It's just kind of a low budget, kind of fun indie zombie movie. And then I wrote some initials here of thinking, oh yeah, I'll remember what that was when the time comes. And I'm looking at it now and I'm like, I don't remember what that was.
That's okay.
I feel bad about it though, because I should know what it was. It's THT. So I'll try and see if I can remember between now and then. And then I included Sean C. Phillips in here because he's a friend on Facebook. He's in absolutely everything that is the lowest of budgets, including his own films that he's made. Nice guy. Anyway, he was in Amityville Bigfoot, he was in a lot of Amityville films. But that's the one I put on there because
Bigfoot.
You love Bigfoot. Ebola Rex, which just sounds like something we need to watch. And MILFs versus Zombies, which again sounds like something we definitely need to watch.
Funny.
I highly recommend go to his Facebook, or I'm sorry, his Internet Movie Database. Well, go to his Facebook too and friend request him, but go to his Internet Movie Database page and pick any one of his films that he's been in, directed, written, or starred, and I guarantee you'll have a good time. Also, his one scene in this film, which is very short, included the Wilhelm scream, and I thought that was a nice touch. There are other people in this film, but those are the people I chose to talk about. So at this point, I turn to my lovely wife and say,
What'd you think?
she says to me, that's what I meant to say. Sorry.
I knew what he meant.
Well, let's get into it. So first of all, we watched this a little while back. We kind of took a break, short break. So sorry that you
We're on
missed an
vacation.
episode last week, but we were on vacation. So we still are technically. So this starts out, you get a really good impression as far as what this movie is going to be, because it starts out with a girl in a kind of bikini top and shorts or something, or bikini. I don't know if she's in a full bikini or not, but she's running through the middle of the desert and she's being chased by a giant ant. And as she keeps running, she keeps throwing her clothes at the ant until she's literally wearing
She's naked.
nothing. I think she might still have her bandana on her head, but that's it. Like, and you're like, oh, it's that kind of movie. Like, and they did it on purpose. I mean, just I think to be
That
funny.
was funny.
But there's a giant ant, which it promises in the title, and there's a lot of exploitation. So it's very dry humor, maybe because it's in like an Arizona type desert. And there's a lot of politically incorrect things in this film. And
What year was it from?
2017. So it's it's pretty irreverent, but it's what you expect when you look at the cover. You don't expect a highbrow
Not a
drama.
award-winning, film by any means.
No.
I wouldn't even call it a film.
I mean, heck, one of the band's the songs is called Side Boob, which there is a video for in there, which is basically just clips from the movie. And the person I left off the list here that I kind of regret doing that now is Sean Astin, was one of the stars of this. Again, his part is not huge, but he is a main character. And at one point he says, "I'm from the Shire," and just it's little throwaway things like that in this movie that make it kind of rise above what it is. And he actually is probably one of the better characters in the film, to be honest. He's the bass player, and he is a burned out bass player. That's not the right word. Like, he's had one too many drug binges in his life. Is that burnout? Would that be the
He's
right way
kind
to
of a
describe
burnout.
it?
Yeah.
There's some fun CGI. This is kind of a nature's revenge movie, although it's a little bit confusing because they go to a rest stop where it's like a fruit stand, I guess, and they meet with an indigenous guy who owns it, and he's got a little person that is there working with him. They're partners, and they want to buy this peyote called Moonrise, and he's like, "I'm all out of that. All I got is Sunrise," and they're like, "Okay." And so they buy this stuff, and they're supposed to follow these specific rules to use it. And if they don't, then, bad things are going to happen. And that's kind of where you're like, oh, that's what the beginning was. So they don't follow the rules, of course. And all of a sudden they're being attacked by these giant ants. And at first I'm like, so is this just a hallucination because they're on the peyote? But as it carries on, the movie carries on, you realize that it is definitely not
Right.
just a bad trip. In this movie, Tom Arnold admits to a lot of very bad things that he's done, which is a little bit like, these are not things you generally want to admit to unless you're maybe P. Diddy or, R. Kelly or something like that. Like, he had a lot of things to say that were very questionable. One of the characters, I still am not sure whether his name was Major or Pager, but I'm pretty sure it was Major. So she, in one of the things I want to correct here is in the thing back there, it says they're headed to Coachella, and that's not accurate. They
thought they were headed to Coachella.
They thought they were, and then Tom Arnold admits to them that they're headed to Nochella, which is a side event that is kind of the anti-Coachella, and so they're one of many bands that are going to be playing at this thing, and they're only supposed to be playing, I think, 3 songs.
One of them's their ballad.
One of them is
ballads.
which they don't want to play.
One guy doesn't.
Yeah, he's like, no more. I'm not playing that song anymore.
I'm over it.
It comes up a few times in the course of the thing. Why did I write? Oh, right, because the indigenous guy, I forget the actual name of the character, but later on, he's coming to try and help clean up the situation, and he's got a big bazooka and a whole lot of other weapons, because he deals with this pretty often, because a lot of these people come and buy this stuff and apparently just don't follow the rules.
Well, it's kind of like he wants to feed the monster anyways. And I feel like if he gives it to these idiots that, come up to the thing and they don't do what they're supposed to be doing, right? Isn't that kind of...
I mean, he's always like, nobody seems to listen to what I'm doing, because the thing is if you respect nature and you don't hurt anything,
like
nothing
anything.
bad happens.
No stepping on ants. No doing anything naughty. Sean Astin's the one that starts it off.
Yep.
And he pees on an ant.
And so if you kill an ant, for example, the next ant or ants that appear are slightly bigger. And if you kill those, it just keeps getting worse and worse. But the whole time they're attacking you, so you don't really have like the option to not fight back.
I mean, he had the option not to pee on that ant.
Correct.
But yeah,
he was already gone at that point, and I just don't think he took it seriously. And Sydney Sweeney and her friend are on their way to Nocella, and they hook up with these guys and end up hanging out with them and end up, in a bad state because of that. All in all, I mean, there was a lot of things that I want to talk about, but that I think I want to recommend that you watch the movie if this sounds interesting at all. And I don't want to give away some of the high points of the film. But one of the things I thought that maybe a throwaway thing, that unless you're a person of my age that listened to the hair metal, which I did, I'm pretty sure, and I didn't verify this, and I probably should have, but some of the music in this movie are Kix songs, Kix. And if you watch the special features, which there's a lot of them, but they're only like 30 seconds to a minute long each, except the side boob music video, there's a scene where Jake Busey's working with the lead singer of Kix, and he's, kind of teaching him how to sing the songs. So some of the songs that Sonic Grave play are not their own songs.
Right.
Side note. But, you might not know that if you weren't a fan of kind of fringy hair metal bands in the 80s, which somebody was. So there is something we probably should tell everybody. What happened during the course of this film?
Well, I even wrote down. So like the time that we started watching it was at 8:35 p.m. And so it's kind of hit or miss. Sometimes, if I get a little tired, I'll even write down when I start getting sleepy. So I wrote down sleepy at 9:15. So I was like 45 minutes into the movie-ish, maybe a little bit, more, right? 40, yeah.
Yeah,
something
right
like
around
that.
there, yeah.
40 minutes. I fell asleep.
She did. And I was a little surprised. I mean, I know when she
enjoying
gets
it.
tired, nothing's going to stop her. And sometimes, sometimes it's good if she takes a little snooze, because then if she wakes up, then she's fine. But yeah, she did miss the third act, more or less.
Yeah.
So, it happens. But I feel like
Yeah.
it's something that at some point
I watched
I'll
enough to
rewatch.
know that I liked it. It's a campy, silly horror comedy. So I like those kind of movies.
Moo-moos?
Movies.
I like those movies.
I like Side Boob. Side Boob's a song.
It is a song.
Yeah.
'Cause the whole thing of them taking the peyote to begin with is that they're going to camp out in the desert
Write
before
some great
Nocella,
songs.
and they're going to write some new hit songs, because they haven't really been relevant for a while.
Yeah.
And the guitarist, played by another guy that I don't remember his name right now, that's the only thing he can come up with is Side Boob, which is catchy, and it ends up, like I said, being a full song in a video, but
Yeah.
it's not the hit that they probably want, not in the current day, not in 2017 anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I did fall asleep, but like I said, I watched enough of it to get the gist of it, and I understood what was happening. It's one of those movies that you don't have to think about it; you just watch it and enjoy.
yeah, if you like creature features, if you like kind of irreverent comedies, if you like lots of cursing and nudity and some blood, there's some blood and guts, not a whole lot. It wasn't out of control. Then it definitely will satisfy all those things without having to use your brain. Just check it at the door.
Yeah.
So,
Do you want me to say what my final thoughts were?
yes, please.
So even though I fell asleep, I had some final thoughts. So I said
did.
it was a fun horror comedy with okay CGI.
Yeah, I felt like the CGI was pretty good considering the budget that they probably had.
Mm-hmm.
My final thoughts were fun and exactly what you want it to be,
Good.
which is what I put on my Letterboxd account, which you can find at this location right here.
Mhm.
If you want to see my other reviews on them. And I release reviews every Sunday, most of the time.
So, should we give our rating?
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to be out of, let's just do cactus because there was like a lot of cactus and like they're in the desert.
Okay.
Yeah. I was going to say like ants or whatever, but
That's too easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So out of 5 ants.
I gave it 3.
Yeah.
That's solid.
I give it a 2.
Because one was knocked off because he fell asleep.
I fell asleep.
So it would have been the same otherwise.
Yep.
If that tells you anything, which, like I said, is 4.9 out of 10. So 50-50. We're right around in that wheelhouse.
50-50.
50-50.
All right.
50.
So if they don't want to watch this,
Why wouldn't you?
why wouldn't you?
Oh.
What do you recommend?
This was pretty much a no-brainer. The only difference with my recommendation and this is that my recommendation does not include heavy cursing or nudity or drug use. It is more of a straight-ahead kind of, not totally family-friendly, but it can fall in that line depending on the age group. Anyway, 1990 Tremors.
Oh.
It takes the location where it takes place, kind of the way it plays out. You know, there's no drugs, like I said, or anything, no nudity, but it feels like it would bookend each other nice. Like you start with Tremors and you end with Dead Ants, or maybe vice versa.
Yeah.
So, plus it was on the brain because of the Bondsman.
I like that.
It's not my only recommendation, but it's where we're landing.
No, I think that's good. So. I'm not going to blow this up. I'm going to gently put it probably on the shelf, right?
Well, I mean, we'll have to find a spot on the shelf for it.
Yeah. All right. What are we watching next week?
Next week, you are going to be maybe excited about this, which is not always a good thing because sometimes it means it's bad. We're watching from 2000.
Oh, The Watcher. It's got, I don't want to say who's in it, right? Because
that's up to you. We'll talk about it next week too. So feel free if you wanna...
right. This is another one of those ones that I think we got it. I think we got this one at Hidden Treasures, didn't we?
We did. Yeah.
Oh, it's long. I really should have worn my cheaters.
Oh no.
All right, let's see. Strap yourself in and enjoy the ride. The Watcher. It's a superb thriller, it says on the front.
It is not just mediocre, it is superb.
Well, I am gonna have to give away, it says it in the thing.
What?
The actors. Yeah.
I mean, you can just say, nothing or...
This actor ignites this action-packed, superbly crafted thriller that zooms along like a sinister video game of hunter and prey. Oh, that's not even the... It looks like it's the beginning of the synopsis.
It does. Oh, it's just a review.
Yeah. After years of pursuing psychotic killers in Los Angeles, FBI agent Joel Campbell wants out. Now his nemesis, serial killer David Alan Griffin, has tracked him all the way to Chicago just to torment him. Before each murder, Griffin sends Campbell a photograph of his intended victim and dares him to find her before he strikes again. Now, with every tick of the clock and amidst pulse pounding action, this stone cold killer turns up the heat. Co-starring Oscar winner blank, this game of cat and mouse will have you gasping for breath from its first terrifying frame until its final explosive conclusion.
Not only is the guy's name Joel, it takes place in Chicago. So.
It does, Chicago. Yeah.
Wow.
I almost feel like maybe I've seen. No, I don't think I've seen it.
Don't say that because then we can't watch
I know. I mean, it sounds familiar, but I don't think I've seen it. But I mean, I think I'm familiar with it. Yeah.
Which I'm familiar with when it came out.
Yeah. I don't think I've seen it though.
It seemed like an odd thing.
I love the people that are in it.
I
sure haven't seen this.
As soon as I saw it at the store, I'm like, oh yeah, we gotta get this one. It was in the right price range, and the people in it, everything about it just was like, easy. Let's go.
I definitely haven't seen it.
Let's go.
But like I said, I think I'm familiar. What year was this from?
2000.
Okay.
So
kind of old.
If it was 2025 and you're sending photographs ahead of time to people to say, hey, this is what I'm going to kill, we're going to figure it out with
Google I'll be like, well, let's see, you're right over there.
Right. But back then they didn't have the same kind of software we've got now, or tools or whatever you want to call it. But anyway.
Right. Awesome. Well, thank you very much for watching. And until next week.
Keep it cheap and creepy, and don't step on any ants, please.
No. Bye.
Doesn't mean you should go chasing the dead.
It may be your robot, but it's my house.
I want to get a close look at these sharks.
Sounds dangerous.
Well, be careful.